What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to GmiasWorld. And a lot of you guys have been having issues with the ability point situation. Some of you guys are still addicted to Pass Lead Elite with Dan Marino and other cards, and you're like, yo, look, listen, I'm so used to Escape Artists and all this other stuff that's going on that I want to know, specifically for, what do I think about the differences with Pass Lead Elite versus Gunslinger? Now, I brought it up yesterday. For those of you guys that saw the video, some of you guys didn't, and I'm still getting that question, quite regularly about, what is the route to go with the way the game is being played right now. So there's a few things that we have to talk about. The number one thing we have to talk about is the type of offense that you run. If you're a bunch player, you don't need Escape Artists. Okay, like, you can literally win with Pass Lead Elite and and maybe sideline Deadeye or some of the Deadeyes or whatever it is, depending on who your quarterback is. You don't really need to have Escape Artists. And the bottom line about it is this: when you play the game and you choose to not use Escape Artists, you're still sane. All right. Once you get a taste of Escape Artists, it's really going to do something to you. Now, with the extra addition of the +1. For the the Gunslinger, it makes it difficult for a lot of us to afford depending on the archetype of our players, it makes it difficult to afford these things because now you're dealing with an average of 11 AP on all the quarterbacks, and it's like, dude, what the hell is this? Nobody wants to really do that. So you guys are looking to figure out what is the best possible option outside of that. When you look at the quarterbacks that you're using, it all goes based on their throwing motion. Now, EA Sports did us a solid by giving us a golden ticket in Christmas and not letting us know. So Derrick Henry is very unique. Because of his release, you can get away with Pass Lead Elite, but for those of you guys that watched me live stream earlier, you can clearly see the difference. It's definitely not Gunslinger, but the ball can come out with very high velocity. Some of you guys were suggesting that it probably is not needed on Derrick Henry, right? That you don't even need Pass Lead Elite. I would not go that far. It is a windup, guys. Like, you're gonna get a windup no matter what. It's nothing you can do about that because you don't have Gunslinger. If you go without any throwing ability, the cards pretty much, they become rendered useless because EA Sports wants you to have a throwing ability to use the quarterback. That's something that they are very serious about, and you can easily notice the differences in the way your quarterbacks react without having set ability, right? So when you look at the fact that now we had to lessen the amount of AP by going Escape Artist and Pass Lead Elite and dropping from 11 overall AP usage to 8, it's necessary. But it works better for me because he already has a decent release. Any other quarterback that you have that has decent release like Kyler Murray has a really, really good release. He's actually really good. The problem with him is that he's undersized. So one of the things that you guys are going to start to notice, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, these guys do not have the ability to consistently get the ball out in front, and they will get their passes knocked down. So although Derrick Henry is not the big 6'5" like Josh Allen, and he's not running around like a powerhouse, he's still one of the better cards to use. And you guys have to realize that based on what you guys are doing, there is a lot that goes into having success with the way your players play. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have a guy that has a really bad release like Johnny Unitas, and you don't put anything on him, that's going to be obviously a lot more noticeable than if you run around with Derrick Henry or Kyler Murray or Jalen Hurts. These guys have decent throwing motions, so it could absolutely work for you. And a lot of you guys don't really see and understand with the way that the game plays, that the way I threw that, right? You see like how that's a short pass? That being a short pass makes it a lot easier for me to be able to do, otherwise what I want to do. Let me just make sure that I have the challenge goals right. Okay, so they want us to have 20 yards, so we'll just make sure we get the 20 yards first, because then you always forget and then it gets real stupid. So with the way that works, it's something about the way that he'll throw that short versus the way that he'll throw it, deep down the field, right? Yes, because of the fact that Derrick Henry only has like an 85 deep accuracy, he's already a guy that you probably in most cases should not be throwing the ball deep down the field with unless you're throwing on the run. Because this is what happens. Like I said, if you're a pocket passer, nothing matters about what's going on right now because you don't need Gunslinger. You can use Pass Lead Elite and have a lot of success. You do not need it. It is needed for people that are throwing the ball from the pocket quite regularly. That's what it's for. So if you're not doing that, none of the other stuff that people are talking about really applies to you. But this is what happens, right? When you run offenses like this, that's why I want to show you guys. When you run like a bunch tight end and you're running around outside the pocket and you're being weird as hell, you see like how I stopped and I made that throw? He didn't throw the ball as fast as he should, but if I was still on the run, it would have come out like a rocket. And that's really the difference. Because like I said, when you set your feet and you stand in the pocket and you literally throw the ball, with your feet set, they're going to wind up with Pass Lead Elite regardless of the throw motion because you don't have Gunslinger. But if you run around like a psychopath and you do a lot of weird things, like pretty much where I've been, I have no choice right now. I'm just like, yo, you know what? I don't care anymore. So I just come out and I just run bunch tight end or bunch or whatever, and I'm running around and being weird, right? It doesn't matter about Gunslinger. So I don't play the way that I originally played to start the year, where I would come out and run doubles and throw the ball from the pocket anymore. So I'm cool with what I'm doing. But if you are not even worried about the fact that, running around or doing all that other crap like that, you won't even need escape artists. Truth be told, right? And like I said, I don't believe bunch players need escape artists, but if you're a real demon, you have it, because then you can always make sure you get that deep post. Or like the bench trail play, the bunch trail play, where you have the post on the left, when it's stock and everything is already stock, you just gotta roll out to the right. That works a lot better with escape artists, but you don't need it. So if you're demonic, you can run bunch pretty much with 8 AP, right? Pass Lead Elite and escape artist. Because even when you run outside the pocket, the ball is still going to be delivered the proper way. If you don't need to leave the pocket, if you're a bunch player that doesn't leave the pocket and you're not running around and you just, you're running mesh post and you're doing weird stuff and you're just trying to throw verticals all game, you don't need the same abilities. So don't adjust your game just because you want to do something that everybody else is doing. You don't need to do it in these cases. So my point overall, Gunslinger is leaps and bounds better than Pass Lead Elite. But depending on the throwing motion and the player that you have and all the other factors that go into your offense, you may not need it. So if you're running around with Derrick Henry, a lot of the stuff doesn't really matter because his throw motion is so good. And what we're trying to do is just run around like idiots anyway and then throw a Stevie and then complete it anyway. That's ultimately what most of our goals are. You know what I'm saying, bro? Because I really just don't care anymore. So bunch tight end, if you're going to utilize that, I would recommend escape artist, Pass Lead Elite. If you're running anything, even if you're running spread, whatever it is, if you don't want to run around and be weird, you don't have to use those abilities if you want to stay pocket passing. But I would recommend, because of the upgrade and the amount to Gunslinger, if you are a Scrambler archetype, I would definitely always use escape artist. If you're like a field general or whatever, I wouldn't use the escape artist. I would just go ahead and jump with whatever. I would go Pass Lead Elite because they added +1 to the Gunslinger as well. And it's lessen your AP enough to be able to still have success with the way that you play the game. That's all. But in this case, Scrambler archetypes, I would recommend Pass Lead Elite. I want to thank you guys and girls for watching. Hopefully you have an unbelievable day. Until next time. One love, y'all.